Hi, I'm Jim Benson, creator of Personal Kanban and Lean Coffee and all those good agile tools that people like to use. I love watching people use them, watching how they change them, watching how they mold them to their own needs. Um, and that's what I've always loved about Agile from the very beginning. So I started being Agile E in like 96, 97. I was still a civil engineer. William Rowden, my colleague, and I uh, got a project where we had to code something. We had an early release version of XP Explained, and the next thing I knew, we were releasing things in iterations. In engineering, I would get feedback loops of 5, 10, or 20 years. With XP, I was getting feedback loops of like immediate or maybe 2 weeks at the most, and it was intoxicating. It was amazing, and it was so amazing that it made William and me actually give up our very cushy jobs as civil engineers and start a company, Gray Hill Solutions, named after her, Nellie Gray Hill Benson, my great grandmother, who was also a tech pioneer in her own way. Um, but we went off and started our own company, and we did government work, work for hire, usually in projects that were incredibly underfunded and with unreasonably aggressive deadlines. We got every project we ever had to write an agile contract, and that was with government, and it was at the turn of the century. So people who say that you can't do that now, it's just wrong. It's super easy to write an agile contract. It's hard to write a scrum contract, but it's super easy to write an agile contract. Because at the heart of agile, agile is like we want to be more collaborative, we want to have better feedback loops, and we want to make sure that we stay on the same page. No one's going to say no to that. So we would simply write contracts that enabled those things to happen. We didn't overload them with jargons of story points and sprints and product owners and scrum masters and blah 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 blah. We just said, look, we're gonna have a higher fidelity of conversation. In those early days of Agile, we could get away with that because we were actually being agile. We were figuring out what each project needed, and we were doing what each project needed. How much conversations, what speed at which do we have to converse? How did we understand? How did the client understand what we were creating? How often did we do demos? How often did we pair program with the client in the room? Um, all these things we were doing 97, 98, 99, 2000, long time ago, and people still seem to have a problem with them. Now, I I've become kind of known as a cranky guy that has some sort of vendetta against Agile. I've actually had people say like, why do you hate Agile, or why do you have this vendetta? And I'm like, I don't have a vendetta against Agile. But when an idea starts out, it is fresh and moldable clay, and you can do lots of different things with it. So we tried all sorts of experiments to make our agile projects be as agile as they possibly could be. But as time goes on, people figure out ways to commoditize, to productize, to calcify ideas. And then you get things like Scrum. So Scrum isn't agile, it's a product. And that's okay as long as you understand that it's a product and you can take the pieces of it off and put other pieces on. But we get certifications, and we have consultants show up, coaches show up that tell us like the right way and the wrong way to be agile. And what happens when we do that is we give up our control over our own ways of working, and we give them up to the people who write books, to the people who tell us what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Now, I've written plenty of books. I've had people come to me and like quote chapter and verse from my books, and it freaks me out. I don't want people to do what's in the personal Kanban book or what's in Wild Limit Whip. I want people to take those ideas and mold them, because that's what Agile's all about, is molding the ideas to your context. So There's so much that I could say in this intro video, but what I'd like to say is that, okay, well, call me an Agile heretic, and I'll gladly accept it if it means that we can have these conversations, if we can talk about why we care about coding, what we want to do to solve problems for our customers, how we can be really mindful, how we can really understand what we're building, who we're building it for, and who we are as a group that are building it. How we make sure that our personality shows through in the software. How we make sure that the people who are using it in the end really get what we wanted to give them so that we're not doing a bunch of stuff this sprint and then not looking at it again because we have to jump right into the next sprint. We've gone from death marches to death sprints, and I so want that to end. I want I want I want Agile to be fun again. I want it I want it to be personal. I want your process to be what you do to have to get your work done. That's what we'll be discussing in these videos. And as I discuss it, we can comment, we can have conversations, you can criticize what I say, you can have counter arguments, you can verbally assault me. God knows almost everyone in the Agile community has verbally assaulted me at some point. But the thing is that these things I've been saying for years have now actually become part of the conversation. So I just want to make sure that the conversation continues. So please come along, watch the other videos, let's have a conversation, and let's be agile again.